We are joined by Sergey Kotlar, CEO of Bitrefill, the best company to support you for becoming a Bitcoin-only full economy sovereign individual. How are you doing?
Very good. Thanks for reminding me.
Well, awesome. And you're joined by Roy
Scheinfeld. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Breez.
Oh, fantastic. Breez Wallet. That's like my new onboarding wallet.
Excellent.
Good work what you're doing here.
Thank you so much, Max.
Fantastic. So, oh God, like where to start with two amazing guests. What's new with Bitrefill? What are you tinkering on?
Well, I mean, we're working hard. Like, and there's always work on new countries. There's going to be some announcements coming out in the next week about two quite big countries we've added for gift cards and Bitrefill. So that kind of stuff's constantly happening, and we're not going to stop until we cover all of the 200 or whatever countries in the FIFA list of countries. Other than that, I mean, we're working on the Lightning stuff. We've most lately, so we have this stack of utilities for people using Lightning called Thor, and we're now like we've released everything as APIs. We're now like experimenting to see like how useful are these APIs for exchanges, for wallets, for basically enabling transactions to happen where there is not enough channels, right? In different way, patching the holes that are there.
So just quickly for the audience, what are the basic ways to use Bitrefill? Because I know when it started, it was a way to retop your cell phone, to get cell phone minutes, and you could trade Bitcoin for it. But I think it's become a lot more since then. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, right. So the original feature was buying the top-ups for the phones, and there's like 5 billion people in the world that have a prepaid phone. It's most spread technology that we have. There's more people with a prepaid phone than with a toothbrush globally. And then gradually we started adding different types of other digital goods. So mainly gift cards, so on and so forth, for our more Western Bitcoiners that maybe don't even have a prepaid phone. And we now let them buy anything they want. So you go on Bitrefill, and if you want to travel, we have special gift cards for that. Or if you want e-commerce, we have Amazon
and do you get discounts for the gift cards, or are they just gift cards you can buy with Bitcoin or Lightning?
It's mainly gift cards so that you can buy with Bitcoin or Lightning. It's still more convenient and cheaper or same price as using an exchange and so on. So we don't mega work with discounts. We've done it a couple of times, but
it's a fishy market out there. I don't know where the discounts come from, but there's a lot of them going around.
There's discounts in the peer-to-peer sort of second-hand gift card markets, right? And so then there is the question of like, who are the people that are selling gift cards at a big discount? You can, many of them are legit. What do you call it? I'm sure they find people. No, but we only work with companies, and we sell legit gift cards.
I think it would be a lot easier just to pay full price and avoid the hassle of having it canceled or getting the angry phone call or whatever it is. I've done some of that stuff. But and then Roy, what do you guys do?
We do a payment. A lot of people call Breez a wallet. I don't like calling Breez a wallet. I think I think in Lightning in general, unlike on-chain, it's a payment service. We're building a payment service. So we're trying to build a payment service which is non-custodial, based on Lightning Network, with a great user experience that appeal to the mainstream audience.
So a payment service, would that be recurring fees? Like if I subscribe to Netflix at like $10 a month,
that's the ultimate goal. And if you saw Rusty Russell's presentation today, it's coming in the protocol. So we want to create a user experience that is on par with Fiat. So basically everything that you can do in Fiat, you can do better with Lightning.
So if I locked up like $120 for my year of $10 a month Netflix, you guys could maybe send it out 10 at a time.
You don't need to lock any funds. Eventually you'll be able to use Lightning at the same level that you use Fiat. Meaning you'll spend the $10 when you need to spend this $10.
Nice.
Without locking anything.
So it's going to have control or access to the wallet, some kind of
the wallet.
Control.
I think Rusty said it clearly today. The wallet's going to be your agent.
Excellent. Because I know with Bitcoin, it's been one of the good features. No one can take money from the wallet. But when I want to subscribe to something, when I want to support something regularly, it's a bad feature.
Definitely, definitely. But before recurring payments and subscription and stuff like that, we need to fix the user experience in the very basic level. And we're still not there yet. And so Breez is focused on creating like the Venmo-like experience for exchanging funds via Lightning, and for providing point of sale, a non-custodial point of sale merchant, a non-custodial point of sale solution that will create this peer-to-peer Lightning economy.
All right, and is it on Android, iOS, or both?
Both.
Oh, both is the best. It's very difficult though.
So one thing that I love about Breez is that you instantly, so when the user downloads the wallet, right, it instantly opens a channel. You open the channel to the user with, of course, all the capacity on your side of the channel, since it's your money.
Yeah.
But this allows any user to instantly, basically, receive payments on Lightning.
Yeah, yeah. So this is our way, our intermediate way to solve this inbound capacity issue. But as we saw with, for example, I'm trying, and I know Sergey is trying as well to push this concept of Lightning service provider. So a Lightning service provider, exactly like the internet service provider, is the entity that connects you to the Lightning network and just enables the user to work seamlessly on top of the Lightning network. That's the idea. Not every, and Breez is like a proof of concept for this Lightning service provider. Bitrefill, Tor, and Turbo channels is another example of a Lightning service provider. Jack from Zap, the Olympus service, is another example of Lightning service provider. What the Aston guys are doing with the Phoenix solution, creating channels, they also provide you with inbound liquidity once you onboard. It's another example of a Lightning service provider. So there are different flavors of Lightning service provider, and our ultimate goal in Breez is to support all the different flavors.
Fantastic, right? That's another thing with an internet service provider. You're stuck to one. Lightning service provider.
You don't have to be bounded to one internet service. Decentralization is basically, we need to keep the Bitcoin values in Lightning Network. So we need to be very careful in creating centralization. We need freedom of choice, and the next step in the Breez evolution is to open up the platform to multiple service providers, that you'll be able to choose multiple service providers, but we need AMP support for that. So.
Yeah, that is very true. And so one thing that I was always wondering is that you open a channel to a new user, right? And of course you carry the cost with this. Of course, there's the on-chain transaction cost and also your capital allocation cost, right? And on the other hand, you don't know who that user is. You don't know if he's just going to check out that app and abandon it again. And that might, of course, mean that you open a channel to a user who does not really use it. On the contrary, you're with Bitrefill, you only open the channel if the user requests it and if he pays upfront with it. So what do you guys think about these two different approaches?
We have a lot of discussions about it.
We've had this exact discussion.
Yeah.
I think it's good that there are different views and that people are trying different things, and we all want the same outcome. And there's different approaches. It's the same as with the discounts. Companies have different approaches.
Well, and I think it's a big open ocean out there. It's really easy to get.
I think the market will decide eventually.
Yeah, we're fighting over the same 10 customers, but really, I think there's 10 more customers over there and 10 more over there.
And,
there's just
and
so
remember, we're
more.
not building it for this. It's amazing turnout in this conference, but we're not building our solution for these 500 guys, right?
Yeah,
we want mainstream adoption. We want to onboard millions and tens of millions of
different
users,
companies, different kinds of ads,
different business models. For me, it's different business models.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
I'm coming from a freemium. The reason I created this notion of a freemium channel is because I'm coming from a freemium SaaS mindset. So for me, it's just a way to onboard and then upsell or monetize.
Exactly, and we need every different kind of expertise in this. I mean, I'm computer geek. I'm good at speaking to computer geeks, but I always tell people, I'm like, we need women, we need people from the inner city, people from outer city, from the country, from the wherever, different countries all over the world, all need to get up and start talking about Bitcoin on their own, tell their friends and family, because they're not going to listen to me. I mean, I can only get the people I can get. You got.
But what I like in the ecosystem just to elaborate on what you said, is that
Yeah.
everyone comes from his own perception, right?
Yeah.
So Sergey is providing premium model. The Jack is very focused on Fiat to Lightning onboarding,
Yeah.
and the Phoenix guys, the Async guys, are very focused on onboarding via friends. So everyone comes with his own approach, and what we want to do, we want to take the best out of these different ideas, different notions, and to streamline everything in a single application. And basically, that's where Breeze is headed.
Yeah.
And that is like it is happening, like this cross pollination of ideas and so on. It is happening. Like we had the discussion of like who came up with the Lightning Service Provider word and so on, and like or just like the idea with the turbo channels. Like at first it was like a crazy idea by this guy Martin at Kixenil. And then we picked it up with the Bitcoin Lightning wallet, and it was still seen as a crazy idea. So on, and now suddenly it's like one of the Lightning implementation companies are releasing a special wallet that's using that technology to enable instant transactions. Now, like they're not using the exact same, but it's conceptually it's the same, right? And so on. But they're adding like a whole bunch of other things and so on. And it's probably not a crazy bet to imagine that Breeze Wallet is going to add some of those things in the not too distant future and so on. And so like it's. I think the cross pollination of ideas is happening in a really good way already. Like, and it's happening. I saw Alex Bosworth brought up like, should it happen in bold conversations or should it be experimentation? I think we in this group are more in the team experimentation and just like just do stuff, and some stuff it's like it will be a little bit messy, but everything is messy anyway. And in the end, some standards will crystallize out. And
especially at first, right? We have to experiment.
Right.
Exactly. That's why everyone looked at me funny when I started opening channel free for users. But now you see other companies are doing that as well. You have
I will always look at you funny.
I don't know. I saw a little bit. I hardly ever catch presentations, but I saw a little bit of Jack Mahler's, and he was talking about how he was something like he was shorting the fee market. He was longing the fee market. Hedging his bets, depending on his business. He has this thing where he was like, a corn farmer, they go out and they buy shorts on the corn just in case the crops go bad because they're longing it when they're growing corn. They're hoping it's going to work out.
Yeah.
And he had a really solid model that maybe if you set up the right derivatives, I'm not going to do it for you. I have no idea what he's talking about. But somehow you would end up covering and you would make money when you lose money and lose money when you make money and you come out even.
The way is the ultimate goal is to build real businesses. We want to make money out of Lightning. Money is not a dirty word. We want to create the Lightning economy. We want to monetize it. It's not,
And if the fees go up, you got to make money. If the fees go down, you got to make money. You have to have a plan for both. And a lot of these Bitcoin plans were like Bitcoin goes up. And, I know a big mining firm where if it didn't go up, they would have went down. But as it turned out, the thing went up. They all made tons of money. It worked great. If it'd gone the other way, it would have been a big crater, a big mess everywhere, and everyone would be on fire. But they're risk takers. They took that risk.
So, what are your steps after the user has opened, after you open the channel to the user? What if the user just doesn't use the channel? Do you close it at some point?
Yeah, definitely.
What is the criteria for this?
So we measure activity. And we have, we're experimenting as well in that regard. We used to have a very basic algorithm that after 30 days of inactivity, we close the channel. But now we gather some statistics out of our node and we actually measured it. And we saw that if the user passes 10 days of inactivity, there's 0.5% that he will use the application again. So we actually reduced the time frame from 30 days to 10 days, and we'll optimize. We're trying to onboard as many users as possible with the liquidity that we have currently. So we're doing this kind of tweaks. But the ultimate goal is to become an LSP platform where we'll be able to use the Thor services, we'll be able to use the Fiat on-ramp services, we'll be able to use turbo channels in order to onboard as many users as possible, and everyone will choose its own business model.
Fantastic. And so for your channels, right, the user pays up front. So you kind of made your money already, regardless what the user does with this channel. Do you still close the channel after some inactivity?
Yeah, sure. We do. I mean, we also like, we're very like eager for the subscription stuff, specifically to have it like natively inside of the Lightning protocol, for so people can pay for their channels ongoing. Because then there is no issue, right? You can just pay every once in a while, and if you stop paying, then the service goes away. This is like common and understood. Whereas right now it's like, I mean, the Thor stuff is still like super experimental, right? So the guarantee that we give you when you get a Thor channel is that you get it, we keep it open for you for a month, right? And then sometimes we'll keep it open a little bit longer. Depends on how it's used, and obviously like on which side the funds are and so on. Like if you haven't used it that much at the end of the month, then we might close it, get a new one. On the other hand, if there's a lot of usage, then we might let it slide. But eventually, obviously, want to move to a more clean subscription type model where the cost of the user is paid off across a longer period of time, and so on. But like more lately, we're also similar to what Roy was describing. We're also like experimenting with that. It's not. And this is why we're like pushing Thor more as an API now than we're pushing it as a consumer service. That like it's not a law of nature that the one paying for the channel should be the user, right? It could be someone else. So in Breez, for example, they paid for it for a while. Now they're looking for somebody else to pay for it, and we let the user pay for it for a while. But we're also kind of thinking that maybe somebody else should pay for it. Maybe and currently, I mean, if you look at the industry, the ones that are making money are the ones that are selling Bitcoins for fiat. And it's not entirely unthinkable that whoever is selling the coins for the fiat, and there's a very clear markup in there, a couple of percent and this and that. So it's not hard to motivate that whoever sold you the fiat will also pay for the cost of the channel, right? But the benefit of doing it with Thor instead of building it yourself is that you don't have to sort of worry about it. You get somebody who can then specialize in the whole upkeep and monitoring of channels and all of that. And whether or not that will be a great business, that depends to be seen. But it's fun.
We're already starting seeing exchanges implementing Lightning services.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Step by step.
And yeah, there's some things that
it's not far-fetched. That's what I'm saying.
It's very not far-fetched, and it's a year from now. I think we're gonna have a very different world with Lightning everywhere.
Do you remember the like 50,000 blocks ago? How crazy! Like, how little we were back then and what we are now. Next 50,000 blocks, insane.
I mean, there's one development right now, which is Electrum, that are adding Lightning, and I think it's also a little bit underestimated because Electrum is it's the second biggest wallet on Bitrefill, so it's clear they have a whole bunch of users, and now suddenly, for the first time, a bunch of people are just going to get upgraded to Lightning when their wallet upgrades, right? And so it's the first time, like up until now, all the Lightning wallets have come from the outside, and trying entirely new things. Whereas now we see like first attempt of pre-existing Bitcoin wallet adds Lightning.
A very popular wallet. And a very popular one as well.
Very popular one.
Most popular.
And I have it running on my computer. I've tested it. I've opened channels. Thor works with it. Bought something from Bitrefill with it. So I know that it's gonna work when they release it. And it's Electrum and it's Lightning. It follows the values of both projects very well. And so I'm now finally we can go and say to all the other wallets as well that there's like no reason to like now you have no excuses. If Electrum can do it, and so can the others.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all about crossing the chasm, right? Yeah. We're at the Lightning enthusiastic phase. We need to appeal more to the traditional Bitcoin audience, then go through the crypto guys, and then eventually mass adoption.
Well, it's unpopular, but I still would like to see Coinbase and BitPay add SegWit, add Lightning, all these kind of things. I know they're on the outside and they got seduced by the shit coins and they keep adding more and more shit coins and they keep losing more and more money. They have this business model problem over at Coinbase. They can't seem to think of anything new. They only follow what the previous business model was. So a couple years ago, they were really jealous of Cryptsy. Cryptsy had like 100 altcoins and they were just killing it on the fees. And then Poloniex and Binance and all these other things had 100 alt fees and just killing on the fees. And Coinbase is like all Bitcoin only. And they're like, oh, we should follow that. We should follow that. And by the time they get set up and they follow it, the money's not there anymore. And then they do Coinbase Pro and they're going to trade and exchange. And then the money's not there anymore. And it's just, they keep following this money and they just keep not finding it. And I thought they had it in the beginning, being Coinbase and being a Bitcoin company. And maybe if they added Lightning support, maybe if they added SegWit, maybe if they,
transaction batching.
Transaction batching. I know, again, we have this open source tool that we built years ago. It's called ProTip, and it's still available at protip.is. You can get the code, and it actually does subscriptions, like you're saying. It just has code that does a subscription. Yeah, it just pays it every month. You want to pay $10 a month, it'll just send it. And it'll scan the web pages you visit, and it'll split up your $10 into $1 for each web
familiar
blogger.
with it. It's a great service.
And and it's all right there. And it's like, we raised 15 grand and we gave it all to the developer and the community guy. And Coinbase is raising billions of dollars, and they have a whole floor in the FIDI district of San Francisco. And they can't adopt Lightning, and they can't adopt and they can't batch their transaction. We had transaction batchings on ProTip years ago, because it just made sense. And that was before the whole fee thing. So it is out there. I still believe in you, Coinbase and BitPay, even while we had the BitPay server guys.
I don't either.
BTC Pay server guys replacing all your software, and everybody else is building decentralized exchanges. And it's just all my talk early on that Coinbase and BitPay are these beautiful bridges that we're going to like walk over. And as soon as we walk over them, we're like throw napalm on them and we're going to burn them. Like Cortez burned his ships when he got to the New World. And what we need is towers that can look far into the distance, not these like stupid bridges.
Yeah, maybe Coinbase, but fuck BitPay, to be honest.
For sure.
Well, all fine. Either way, I'm just saying, in general, let's adopt that Lightning. Let's adopt this SegWit. Let's get these batching, like the technology. Like you have all the marketing, you have all the money.
Yeah, but you need also to keep in mind that Lightning is very experimental. It's not ready yet.
Yeah,
and I think we need to curb a little bit the enthusiasm, and it will take time to build a solid, robust infrastructure that is ready for the masses. It will take some time. So we need to do it right.
I think, like, from my perspective, like, I'm not looking for the masses right now, but I'm looking for, okay, so there is some 600,000 payments on Bitcoin every day. I want just them to migrate to Lightning. We start there,
exactly.
right? We sure the big masses, there's going to be some other UX challenges that we're going to have to solve. But like, I think people are like forgetting, how like all of Bitcoin is built around things that barely work, right? I mean, every time you use anything that's like, there is a chance that it doesn't work, or sometimes you have to do some workarounds of this and that, but this is how it evolves. This is because it is an open source protocol that nobody controls, and this and that, right? And so, like, for me, I think that Lightning is definitely not finished, but it's definitely good enough to start converting the current users, like the current usage of Bitcoin, the exchange traffic, the people that are earning coins in different services, and people buying stuff and so on. Like, all of this stuff should just migrate to Lightning ASAP, and like, as it does, like, it will create pressure to iron out the kinks, like, because that's how I think that's. Otherwise, it's very dangerous. Like, I like to build products based on complaints, right? So you build something. If people complain, then it's you open a bottle of champagne because you know that they care. Yeah. If they don't care, they're not going to complain. No, you have some champagne and then you fix the problem, right? And then you also know, but then like, when somebody complains, you also know exactly what the problem is, and you know which problem you should fix, because usually you have infinite problems.
Yeah, but there are stuff that we need to take care of, and the user, by definition, doesn't care. For example, one of the things that we're doing is we're building a non-custodial service. if you give a user, a regular end user, a custodial server, he wouldn't care. So
yeah, they don't really know the value of decentralization. We were talking to someone earlier today, and they're like, "Yeah, if you explain the technology to them, they have no idea what you're talking about. But if you start with the philosophy about why we need to be decentralized, and what if they took out one of the servers, or what if they took out
but
all
again,
the
they don't care.
servers,
You're
or-
not gonna educate every user. The
oh yeah, we
service-
are, one at a time, right here on YouTube.
But that's an interesting
the
question.
service just need to work, and it needs to work seamlessly. That's the goal.
I'll let you
and
fix
everything,
that one.
yeah.
I think that we're gonna see. It's a little bit like I discussed with somebody who said that like I stopped giving bitcoins away to people because they don't value it and they just lose it, right? And it's a little bit similar way with this non-custodial and custodial thing, is that people don't like if you just give people a non-custodial wallet, they don't really, like they don't really value it until they need to value it, right? Until there is, the censorship or all of these different things, people don't value it. But when these things show up, then it's kind of okay, we'll force the people to the other things. And like I don't know, I think it's okay to build things with, like, for example, I think like all of the different corporate coins that seem to be brewing right now, I think it will be a net good for us. It will definitely draw a lot of attention towards that, but on the same time it will like if it's inevitable, I think that type of thing will happen, and they will definitely, like if Facebook and Amazon and whoever start building out the circular economy, we're going to have a very nice very circular economy very fast, right? And as the pressures start coming from the regulators and whatnot, the ones that cause us to do the decentralization things, as the pressures get applied, and suddenly Bitcoin will be will rise as the option that is the more freedomful coin than the others.
Well, I have a different take on that completely. I think if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen only in Bitcoin, because then regulators, they have no incentive of enabling corporate coins or anything like that. So if it's gonna happen because of the Bitcoin core values of censorship resistance, open, borderless, transparent.
Well, I kind of agree with both of you in the sense that only those individuals that really need to fix a problem that they have by being censored or by just being mistreated will use tools of self-defense like Bitcoin in order to solve these problems, right? And then it doesn't matter what regulators say, it's censorship resistant, right? We're just going to use the code and use it to defend ourselves. And then on the other hand, what you say about the circular economy is what I personally experience very much so. Because, right, I earn Bitcoin, I hold Bitcoin, and I spend Bitcoin. Like for me, I don't even have a bank account anymore. I really don't need it because of services like Bitrefill, making it extremely easy to buy pretty much anything that I need in cyberspace with Bitcoin.
And we need to start paying salaries in Bitcoin. That's what triggers the entire cycle, right?
That is it. That is absolutely it. Exactly. So
you pay salaries in Bitcoin?
Yes, we pay certain types of salaries in Bitcoin. Not to the Swedish employees, but for people who invoice, they can invoice us in Bitcoin. Any expense reports that somebody has, like from a trip like this, you can get it paid back in Bitcoin if you work with Bitrefill, and so.
Excellent.
We're definitely like trying to, if
there's no question about why I should spend my Bitcoin if you earn your money in Bitcoin.
Yeah, that is always what so many people say. Like, oh, you spend your Bitcoin, all the coffee from 2 years ago is so expensive. Like, no, that's the wrong way to look at it. Because if you say, oh, the money went up so much, then why didn't you save more? Why didn't you sell more of your fiat backs to stack more sats? Because then you would be happy about the price going up, right?
It's a super relevant meme because nobody. Almost nobody invested all of their money into Bitcoin 2011.
Which you should have.
There is one guy who did, and that's Rick Falkvinge. That's a very separate conversation we can have. But most of us didn't invest all of our money into Bitcoin, right? And sometimes we buy stuff with it. I've been going around buying stuff all the time for the company and whatnot. picking up tabs when we can, and so on.
It's not that different from just spending money, but like you're
It's
saying,
money.
yeah,
It's
it's
the
money.
same.
I mean, it's kind of the same. And
Not kind
although
of the same.
if you look, well, there's that pain. You look back and you're like, oh, I got that sticker on my car. It's worth a 0.1, and my car's not even worth a 0.1 anymore. So that's not good. And then, but going back just a little bit earlier, you guys were talking about everything. And a friend of mine, she had some very early Bitcoins that were given to her. And I'm sure it was a lot. And she, of course, just kept them in the centralized exchange of somebody's website or whatever. And then she was hacked and they were taken from her. And she said, I only understood after I was hacked and they took them from me that I had something of value.
Exactly.
And I think that's a big core thing where like even a 0.1, my stupid car sticker, eventually has value. And if you learned how to keep it and how to secure it yourself and how to put it in a safe wallet or keep it here and have the private keys, have a backup, like you can really own that. But you only learn that probably through this disaster of losing it all.
And I feel like Lightning gives us a second chance of doing things right because it's fresh, it's new. It's the right moment to get into the game and start contributing in building the right infrastructure.
Well, I saw already they were talking to me about, we lost their card already. What was the tipping app?
Oh, bottle pay.
Bottle pay. And it sounds really cool. And of course, I've been through tipping app wars before on Bitcoin, and they were representing themselves as real Bitcoin, but they were using a centralized database and all these things. But it sounds like the bottle pay has a little bit better. They're putting kind of the Lightning in an envelope, and then they send it, and then in 7 days it expires, and it comes right back to you. And it's in the code. It's not in their like centralized thing. It's like a code thing, and like that's getting. So we're getting a little better at it, and it's a little more representative of what it actually is, rather than saying it's Bitcoin. It's more, we're using a centralized, we're custodial. It's okay. We don't want to be, we are, and that's getting better. It's the same kind of thing, but it's a little better.
And then we're talking with BottlePay to have smooth integration between non-custodial wallets and their servers. So
yeah, and I like that. They were talking a little bit about that. You could have it, keep it in an external wallet or have it automatically sent off or something like that. Because it's not that I don't trust them. It's that I don't trust anyone. So they're in that group.
And you want the freedom of choice to do with your money whatever you want to do with your money.
I want to be able to recommend it and be like, oh, well, normal users can use it in less than $10. That's fine. But let's say you're really killing it on the tips and you got $100 in there. You have to treat it differently than it's $10. And if they have advanced options and you can get in there and you can add a wallet and you can link it up or whatever. And, I don't think they're after your money. I just think it's through security problems or a mistake or something, your money gets exposed. It's in a big pile of money, so it's a bigger target. Whereas, my $10 nobody wants, but put it in a pile with everybody else's $10, and it's like that's target.
It's also a question of how do you perceive the end game. Looking at the bigger picture, I think 90% of transaction can occur off chain. So if 90% of transaction occur off chain, you need to build the right infrastructure for peer-to-peer transactions.
Yep.
So some will be custodial, but we also need to build a non-custodial infrastructure as well.
And I also think it's usually makes sense to build the custodial first. I hung out with some Zcash people lately, and they're all like, Bitcoin's built wrong. It should have been private first and all these things. It gives me a headache to even think about how Bitcoin works if I was like Satoshi. But then to think about how you're going to build a private Bitcoin first, and you can't test anything because it's all private. It's like the public network, as much as it's been exploited by chain analysis and some other companies and that whole thing, it's public because it's a test and it's on purpose and you can see what happens, and it makes it a lot easier to debug, I imagine. And if we had it private first, it would just be a nightmare the first time. So
yeah,
baby steps, right?
I mean, all these things, like the non-custodial stuff shields the custodial stuff. Yeah, because had you not have non-custodial, the custodial would have been shut down immediately. In a similar way, how Bitcoin shields a lot of altcoins, right? So that it is a thing that more decentralized things work as a shield. Like probably like the reason why Ethereum could do a lot of the things that they do is because Bitcoin exists, right?
Yep.
And so because the regulators powers that be, they've seen, they saw what happened like when they went after Kazaa and they created BitTorrent, right? And they saw that it got worse from applying that pressure, right? So now we have a situation where the existence of more decentralized services protects in a way and the somewhat less decentralized services. Because what's the point? Like what's the point? Okay, so you have this custodial element, like, okay, for example, if government say that, okay, Blue Wallet is custodial, okay, say the government comes and cracks down upon them. Um, if the government cracks down on Blue Wallet, what is that going to do? Well, all of those users are going to Google for Blue Wallet replacement, right? And they're going to find the Breez Wallet,
right.
and then the status quo. Like the government's control over things became less through cutting off, cutting off those things. And so, like, so for me, like I see value in both of those things, and if there's an option of making it more decentralized, I mean, of course, we have the obligation to make it more decentralized.
Don't forget, there's also business value in being more decentralized. I think it's going to cut cost.
Right. But I also I still want to give a shout out for things that are useful, right? And I think that there is also value in building things that are useful.
And tipping and bottle pay are a great example of that.
Right. For example, yeah, and if God forbid they run into trouble, well, then we're going to have a more decentralized bottle pay the next week.
Exactly.
I mean, you see the BTC Pay server, which is here. I see one of their business cards. Like, how did that project occur? Like, okay, well, gradually, BitPay was forced to do certain things and this and that they probably didn't have to want to do. And the counter reaction is that there is another app that's even achieves a lot of the same benefits, but better encourages the circular economy, right? Because there's no built-in way of selling your coins in the BTC Pay server.
So Breez Wallet is Bitcoin only?
Yeah.
Will you ever add shitcoins?
What do you think?
No, of course.
That's a stupid question.
Yeah. So Bitrefill was Bitcoin only for a long time. Then you added shitcoins. When will you remove the shitcoins?
When people stop using them meaningfully, I would say. Yeah, I think that for the time being, I mean, people are strongly allied with their coins. It's like a tribal type thing, and in our tribe, people want our coin and want the destruction of all other coins. But I think that I think for one thing, if we had a scenario where suddenly like a spike of fees, and I don't think we're gonna ever or ever we will, but like not for any time soon, have a long-term such scenario. But even in short-term scenarios, like say when, for example, there was a couple of weeks ago when I think Binance got hacked, and then suddenly a bunch of transactions happened on the network, because the hackers usually don't care about optimizing the transaction fees, right? So there was a big backlog for a couple of days. In scenarios like that, like, yeah, sure, we have Lightning, and that's good, but it's also actually quite good that we have Litecoin as well. Yeah, that some people in some cases can pass the transactions through. And we sort of we support a couple of coins that have traction, and we use it based on like we added them based on their objective traction numbers. We keep them based on our numbers. So like, so long as people are using Dogecoin, we're gonna have Dogecoin. And when they stop, we're gonna take it away.
So what's your take if you're supporting popular coins, basically? Why don't you support Fiat like the Fall Guys?
Well, it's not unthinkable that we would. It's just a matter of priorities. Fold are, from what I understand, very US centric, right? And so if you're gonna
it's a regulation.
If you're gonna accept fiat, you have to go different solutions for different countries and this and that, and so like it's not unthinkable that we would, at some point or some way. Just a matter of priorities, I think.
Because if you add that and you have the turbo channels, then we have Fiat to Lightning on ramp, basically.
Yeah, and that would be quite useful. So it's not, and it's like it's not unthinkable that we would, but it's like it's a line of business that we're not too familiar with. There's like, it's funny, like when
you need domain expertise in this specific.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we hang out, like on the other side of our business, like on the gift cards, phone refills, like we go to those conferences, and we discuss, with some other company in the space, and have a conversation, and they start asking about, like, so what are your fraud rates and what are your systems are you using? And I'm like, Yeah,
Zero?
they don't have fraud. Like we accept zero calm, so there's some monitoring there. But other than that, it's not really a thing in our space, you know. And like when you talk to people who are like, oh, okay, but for us, because for us, 90% of all transactions are fraud, right? Yeah, and so you have to sift out the remaining 10% that are good. Yeah, and imagine the efforts that have to go into that. And there's, you know, and we don't have that like. That
Bitcoin
skill
fixes
in-house
this.
yet.
Bitcoin fixes this.
Yeah, absolutely. Bitcoin fixes this. And that's the thing is that do we want to spend the effort to acquire all of that expertise and to navigate in that world? And
Do you want to spend the effort on acquiring the expertise of running an Ethereum node?
We have done that. So
I hear they don't fully
Yeah,
sync.
scoop,
Though.
Max.
Did you fully sync it? You have to
we
get 100%.
have, as far as I understand, I need to double check with my man in the other room, but my understanding is that we have an Ethereum node that is pretty full. Just how full, I'm not super sure, but I think it's like at the highest or like one of the higher grades. I know that we have a server that keeps going down periodically, so I'm guessing it's pretty full.
That is most certainly the
But-
Ethereum thing.
But we have an Ethereum node, we're running our own, and so on. You know, I think it's like also important. Like, it's a different community with different values. They do different trade-offs and decentralization and whatnot. But there are useful things that are coming out of it. It would be stupid not to watch it. And you know, like for example, WebLM is something that we're all super happy to use. But WebLM is a straight-up rip of Web3, which is MetaMask, right? So this is a technology that was invented in the Ethereum world, and that
I wouldn't say that.
what?
They ripped it off out of this JavaScript injection stuff would be 10 years technology.
Sure, but sure. I'm not saying that, and you can do the same with the window post message and whatnot.
We already,
So,
yeah.
I'm not saying that it's necessarily, you know, a Nobel Prize winning major achievement, but it is like it massively improves user experience. Yeah, and just, I mean, look, the whole pattern of having a browser inside of the wallet, yeah, also something that is popularized by the Ethereum people. Also not no Nobel Prize, but it's a way of dealing with the fact that, like, if you're on an iPhone, you click a pay with Bitcoin button, it will open a random wallet, and you have no way of changing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and like to me, that's the like, okay, Lightning is cool and all, and we're all here for Lightning, but if I could fix one thing, it's like I would fix that functionality in iOS. That like just let me
Agreed.
pick whichever wallet I have. Like Android can do it. Why can't you do it as
That
well?
would be good.
Because if you're like me and you have all of the wallets, then it's like almost certainly is gonna pick the wrong one.
You know, there's a spike in new Lightning wallet, so I always install the new one, and it overrides my Breez wallet, and I go, fuck, I don't know. I want to use Breez. I don't want to use this new wallet. Yeah, I agree. That's a pain in the user experience.
It's always been good for the altcoins to be the laboratories of Bitcoin and for us to work on new ideas like Monero works on privacy and Zcash works on privacy and Dash or Darkcoin works on privacy. But the problem for me is I never thought they should be worth like $1,300 a coin or whatever it was. It's when they started getting the values and when the values started getting the hype that we lost track of these being.
And they are hyping themselves. That's the problem.
And they took the money and they bought more hype.
As are we.
This circle of hype. I mean,
As are we?
We don't have we don't have any. We don't have any money,
we're
man.
not.
Number go up,
We're not.
of course.
Yeah, we can't really roll this snowball as well as they can with $1 million.
No,
of marketing
it's
money.
completely
I mean,
different. It's not like we're trying to elevate each other in terms of energy and stuff like that, but we're not doing scams together. Like,
what do you think HODL means?
HODL?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
HODL.
No, it's a great, you know.
It's a drunk guy.
Yeah.
He wrote it on the
HODL
forum.
implies the advice that the price is going to go up, right? The person giving the HODL advice, is saying that you should hold your coins because
I'm
the
not
price
so
might
much
go
it
up.
even says that. I mean, if you look at the original announcement, the guy basically said that he couldn't time his trades right and that he didn't have a crystal ball and he was just some idiot and it went up and he'd buy and it would go down and he would sell. And he was just like, enough of this. I've made a bet on a new technology. I'm going to be right or wrong. It's going to $0 or $1 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm 10% more right because I'm trading and I'm nervous all the time and I'm checking my price and I got to look at my guru and my guru says if it goes up to 7,900 it could go higher. If it goes down to 7,800 it could go lower. My guru is not helping. And even then, if you have a guru that says it must go to 1,500 and they're wrong, they're not a valuable guru. So I think rather than all that guru nonsense, you say, I found a new technology. I'm going to take my risk on it and I'm going to hodl my coins. But even then, I think it's far too simplistic and we need hodl plus profits. If you're up 10,000% on something, if selling 10% of it would change your life because you could pay off your debts or you could buy a new house or a new mattress or new shoes or whatever it is, do it. Like sell it. Like, I mean, this hodl forever thing, like it's nice, but eventually take some profits. And again, on the other side, if you're down 10,000% and you need to sell it to pay next month's rent, you probably should sell it or you should get a job or you should do something else. But this doing something endlessly forever is not smart. But I think trying to time these tops and bottoms is just going to stress you out, lead you to gurus, lead you to nonsense. All these charts, you put numbers on them and they have all these things and they all act as a big group. And they're just really confirmation bias and they're agreeing with each other. Whereas if a whale comes in, this is still small enough. A whale comes in, he wants to buy all the coins. All your charts don't matter. He wants to sell all the coins. All your charts don't matter as well. We are very
You just
small,
need to look
very
at
early.
yesterday's charts to understand that.
Yeah, yeah. You can only properly predict what happened yesterday. So, but yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
So what is the new magic you're gonna bring into Breeze soon in 2 weeks?
2 weeks. Actually, I'm gonna announce something new service tomorrow. If you're
Ooh, can we get a spoiler?
So if you are familiar with our Connect to Pay feature, where the problem with mobile nodes is that if I want to do peer-to-peer payments, both of the nodes need to be online at the same time. So the traditional lending way of doing that is like you create an invoice, you send the invoice to your friend, then you need to coordinate with your friend to pay the invoice, right? You call them or you text them, get online. And doing that in a non-custodial fashion is a challenge. So we've created this notion of like a phone call to pay. This is the Connect to Pay. So we coordinate both parties to be online at the same time using mobile notification. So it's already in the product. The next stage of it is going to be asynchronous payments. So I want to pay you in a Venmo-like style, right? I want to pay Max 100 Satoshi. And I don't want you to be online at the same time that I'm issuing this payment. So we're going to introduce something called the Lightning Rod. And this Lightning Rod is like a relay node that coordinates the payment in a trustless way.
Okay, so and for the
the user experience is instead of waiting for the other party to join the payment session and waiting for him to be online and then you're offline and you do this coordination, you get this Venmo-like experience that you just sent out the payment and the payment gets settled asynchronously.
Okay. Is there a custodial risk in here? Or is it
No. So the way that we plan to do that is completely trustless. So we're gonna.
Fantastic! I'm looking forward to that announcement.
Yeah, I'm gonna detail some of the magic tomorrow.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Thank you for the spoiler, Roy. And same question to you, Sergey. What are you tinkering on?
So right now we're working a lot on improving the Lightning experience for businesses. So we're right now working on a service that will let merchants or exchanges or whoever, like entities that run a node on a server, sort of to have a capacity guarantee from Bitrefill and make sure using turbo channels and stuff, make sure that they always able to send, always able to receive with no downtime. And together with that, a couple of other like partnerships and things that shows how easy Lightning makes integrations between different centralized services, and how easy you can do, for example, how you can integrate Bitrefill into things like a wallet or an exchange. Wallets we've seen, but like in browser online services, I think it will shift people's understanding of what Lightning can do another step. And I quite look forward to that.
Very nice. And anything new coming up with your idea of having the circular economy?
Well, I think this stuff is related to the circular economy because getting different services interconnected is a big part. We're adding more countries to Bitrefill for gift cards, as I mentioned. When it comes to like earning coins, if you mean, we're still playing around, experimenting, but it's a couple of steps off for us. So we're focusing on some other things in the immediate future.
Okay, fantastic. So, Piers, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
Alright.
Thank you,
And
guys.
before we finish, where can people download and learn more
Breez
about Breez?
technology, Breez without an E at the
Alright.
end, because I saw that someone tried to hijack our branding. So there's Breez with E technology. That's not the right domain. Breez without an E technology. You can download it for the iOS or for iPhones.
All right. Where can they learn more
For
about
Android, sorry.
Bitrefill as well?
Go to bitrefill.com and at Bitrefill on Twitter and Bitrefill on Telegram and on Reddit and so on.
Right. All right. Thank you guys very
Fantastic.
much.
All right.
Thank you very much. Keep on building.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
yes,
Thank you, man.
keep it on.